here at the church for doing this for us. We appreciate it. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you very much. About 7 months ago, I got a phone call from Cheryl Brown. When Cheryl calls me, no matter what I'm doing, I will always take that call. True story, I was about to get married, and 5 minutes before I was about to get married, and I got a phone call from Cheryl Brown, and I took that call. That's a true story. That's a true story. So Cheryl asked me if I would volunteer to come to the 60th anniversary gala night of SCCAP, as it's called, the South Central Community Action Programs. And it's a lot of fun, I think, to do this kind of thing. And I said, yes, absolutely, so I am here. I've known her for probably 2 decades. We built a hospice home together in Washington County. Let's give Cheryl a round of applause. Thank you, Cheryl. So, she wrote me a 100-page script. I think I'm going to breeze through it a little bit. But I am Tom Reifert. I am your Master of Ceremonies tonight. I recently retired as the Assistant Secretary. Look, my name's up on the screen. How cool is that? As the Assistant Secretary of Commerce for the state of Maryland, but I still serve on a lot of boards and committees and that kind of thing. And this organization is important to Franklin County and Adams County. And to be 60 years of doing good things and the good work here in this part of it, let's get the organization around the applause. Thank you. So we are here tonight to celebrate the 60th anniversary of South Central Community Action Programs and the amazing success stories, really, the success stories of some of those that they serve. Now, so enjoy yourselves. My small part right now is that you will be called up by tables to visit the amazing buffet provided by, let's see, From Scratch Catering and Blue Heron Events in Greencastle. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. And again, that was great music that they sang earlier. Wasn't that amazing? Let's give them another round of applause. That was just incredible. They are so good. They are so good. Let's see, I'm supposed to say this too. It says, take note of the 2 giant screens, not because my name was up there earlier, but left and right, where you can preview many of the faces of SCCAP and SCCAP's history, as well as its impact while you enjoy your dinner. So, thank you very much, and we will see you right after dinner.
Dustin Shaw, Wilbur Plank, Francis Colston, George Inskip, and Oscar Spicer in a room. They're men who were looking at how do we take the Economic Opportunity Act of 1964 and implement it. Those folks were charged with figuring that out in our community. So 60 years ago, they're in a room planning for what we would do today. And I want to talk a little bit about the history of what that looks like. Now, SCCAP is one of 1,000 community action agencies across the country. There are 1,000 of us. Every community has a community action agency, but we all look a little bit different. We are charged with trying to meet the individual needs with the community, which is a gift. It does make it hard, though, because every community action is a little bit different. I think that's the beauty of it. Our shared mission is that we're looking at helping people reach long-term stability, being able to thrive, and then eliminating the causes and conditions of poverty. That's what pulls us all together. But it was critical that we keep food pantries, homeless shelters, WIC, those programs that were critical to meeting needs open, and the rest of us were laid off. I was actually on CNN's Money broadcast, counter Governor Ed Rendell, because of the budget impasse. So I was sharing the complications this was causing for low-income, at-risk clients. Not the reason I wanted to be on TV, mind you. And after that budget impasse, the board and I, our administrative component of the board, decided we would never let that happen again. So in 2010, we completed a rigorous fiscal and impact analysis, which we've incorporated into our processes. So it's looking at, first, how are the finances of every single program? And SCCAP will always run programs that don't financially support themselves. Gleaning, support circles, homeless shelters, food pantries, all of those programs, important to our community. Almost no funding governmental funding to support them. So we have to raise that. But we need to be consciously looking at the programs and making sure we're not doing duplication of service, that the programs we're running, we run really well. Those are things we have to look at. And so we started that process. It was really hard and really, really important. The Gleaning Project in the 2000s moved under SCCAP, which was amazing. Thank you to Jerry Altoff for starting that. We held our first Race Against Poverty and Empty Bowls fundraisers because, again, we're looking closely at our finances and knew we had to do more work on fundraisers. We held a poverty simulation at the PA Capitol, the Pennsylvania Capitol, in the Capitol, invited by the GOP Policy Committee. Remember, Karen? It was a pretty exciting event to be invited by the GOP Policy Committee. And I have to tell you, we have a wage gap video that's on our website that shows you what happens as a person works their way out of poverty. We asked if we could show it, and they said no, but we showed it anyway because we had a captive audience. And by the way, the results of that was there was a cliff effect bill that was started around child care subsidy, so that people would have a gradual ending of child care subsidy. That bill actually passed the legislature and was signed by the governor. So that bill directly related to the work that we do. I remember a reporter calling me after that happened, and he said, "How did that happen? You could put forth a bill that it's illegal to kick puppies and it wouldn't pass." But we were so fortunate, and that was because people like Kara and others shared their stories. Important, critical work. We established an endowment during the 2010 time period with $25,000, which we thought was really big back then. Sorry, I don't need those. We worked to redo our vision, and values, and began an internal planning team. And that's a group that helps plan organizationally, which keeps us grounded in the work. We earned PANO's, Pennsylvania Association of Nonprofit Organizations, Standards of Excellence accreditation, which I'm very proud of, and reaccreditation. Thank you. We became the lead agency for Franklin Together, the Reentry Coalition of Franklin County, and we also became the lead agency for At Home in Adams County, working on affordable housing, transportation, and economic development. And by the way, in 2016, because of the changes that SCCAP made, we suffered a 9-month budget impasse and didn't have to lay off a single staff person. Yep, it was pretty amazing. And then in 2020, COVID hit. And we had to change everything about the way that we do our work. And I want to say right now, we've done crisis mitigation work for 4 years. And I am so proud of our staff and our volunteers. That was hard work on the front line, crazy times that we were going through. Our shelters had to change all the way that they functioned with processes. We had to cut our census about in half in both of our shelters. We had to leave room for people to be able to quarantine in place, because you have to be able to quarantine, right? And at no time did we have a mass outbreak of COVID. We had COVID cases, but we're able to control it because the systems our shelters put in place managed that. Astounding to me how well they did. Our weatherization staff continued to weatherize houses, going out, making sure that it was safe, but having to go out in PPE, so full PPE. As you're in an attic in summer, I just want you to imagine what that's like, or trying to crawl into a trailer. Again, such dedication. It was an unbelievable amount of work, and I'm so very proud of my staff. For 4 years they did that. We are just now getting back to strategy-focused work, and we're really excited about that, so it's wonderful. There was a huge bright spot that happened, though, in 2021. We began a campaign to raise $1 million endowment, and we succeeded. Thank you, Cheryl. I also want to thank Cynthia and Dave Salisbury. Thank you. Cynthia was served on that committee and helped us with that process. And again, just like when I talked about corporate sponsors and the difference that makes, people have weird thoughts about endowments sometimes, but that $1 million endowment brings in about $50,000 every year forever. It will go forever, and it will just continue to grow. That's unrestricted dollars that allow us to do what's right for a family. So really, really important to us. And it was amazing. 7 months, in 7 months, that group raised $1 million. Crazy. So as I talk about our rich history, and so many, I mean, this is just a fraction of the things that happened, but I didn't want to talk all night. But what I hope we can gain from that is that this organization bends and adapts to meet the needs of our community. We change lives, we protect lives, we rise to a crisis, we work at the community level on an issue that impacts long-term well-being of families. We serve because we love and care about our communities. You heard from Tom that I worked at Deloitte, and I did a lot of strategy work, but I want you to know every day the work we do at SCCAP requires far more strategy work than what it took at Deloitte. You are honestly making something out of nothing on a constant basis. So this work has long-lasting impact. And so when we talk about our future, I wanted to share with you some of the outcomes that we see with families, the long-term outcomes, because this is why we do the work. I think of David Northrup, whose hard work to transform his life was featured in one of our newsletters. He spent time in the criminal justice system. Thanks for moving the screen. You can see him. He's sitting on the picnic table. He struggled for many years with addiction, but he was able to transform his life. He's been in recovery for more than 6 years, and he's built a new life. He now works for the RAISE project in Carlisle as the housing coordinator, assisting others in recovery. He's also been a Moving Forward facilitator. That's a peer-to-peer support group that was designed to offer support and help change thinking so people can stay out of the criminal justice system. And he's been our longest running facilitator. When people can move out of crisis, their lives blossom, and we often find they give back in amazing ways. Dave wanted to be here tonight, but he had an unexpected conflict, but we're so proud of the work that he's done. Janine Weaver, who was at one of our previous, she's in the back of the room in the beautiful green, was at one of our previous banquets. She shared her story about how she and her family came to the shelter after she left a difficult relationship and had a job loss. While at the shelter, she found employment and then transitioned to stable housing. This helped allow her to work on her business. Today, Janine has a thriving accounting business, Weaver Accounting Solutions. You can see her picture at her desk. And she's even hired staff as she's needed to meet the demands. Her kids are doing great, and she's moved into a bigger home. She's assisted in sharing how appropriate services can help families stabilize. And now she's building a business, and she took a risk to talk about how she experienced homelessness, and having that time and protected space and someone to help take care of her changed her life. So grateful for that, Janine.
Proud to partner with SCCAP, and on behalf of my fellow commissioners, we are grateful for all the ways that SCCAP has supported our community and our residents over the last 60 years. Thanks to SCCAP, there are many programs to help with housing as well as food needs and help individuals achieve financial independence. The county relies on SCCAP to administer the Reentry Coalition, which support people coming out of jail and their families by helping addressing barriers such as jobs and housing. SCCAP provides emergency shelter, grounded rehousing, and homeless assistance. Recently, SCCAP distributed almost $19 million in emergency rental assistance to help those affected by COVID to pay for rent, utilities, and other housing costs. Franklin County is able to provide funds to SCCAP through a few grants, including Impact Grant, Human Service Block Grant, and Community Development Block Grants. This just scratches the surface when it comes to the many ways that SCCAP brings much-needed programs to improve the quality of life for our residents and their families. So on behalf of Commissioners Flannery and Zebrowski, congratulations on achieving this milestone, and thank you for serving our community for the past 6 decades. And here's to many more.
Good to see you tonight. There's more people here to listen to the radio show. We're Rick and Lisa, the high-energy, family-friendly, fun-loving, live, local, and retired morning show. And we're so glad to be here tonight.
We first were approached by John Rayburn a lot of you know John, and Kyle Bushry, who was the pastor here at King Street, came up to us and said, hey, can we come on your radio show to talk about Circle's program and a race that I think it was the second year, a race against poverty. And we said, sure. So they called in, and then he also said, by the way, would you guys like to host it? Sure. So we've been involved pretty much ever since. And when John left, Cheryl took over. We love her. We love SCCAP. What a great organization. So proud. We went on the air about how great SCCAP is serving the local community. I mean, that is just awesome. So if you're involved, you deserve a round of applause. I mean,
yeah, being on the air as we were for so many years, we had quite a few organizations approach us over time, and we had to be real guarded with the Rick and Lisa brand because, you know, we want to do what's right in all situations, but we've never felt more comfortable than teaming up with SCCAP for the Race Against Poverty, and we're just glad to be here. Thank you.
I am really blessed for several reasons with Jersey Mike's. First off, that they even just gave this Jersey girl this opportunity to own this amazing business. And then when you get into it, you find out how important it is for Jersey Mike's to give back to the community. So I joined the organization and say, please find an organization in your community. Every March, we're going to fundraise for the month, and one day of the month, we're going to give the entire proceeds to this organization. And I am so blessed and happy that I found SCCAP to be our beneficiary for our month of giving every year. I don't see myself changing from that. I've had other organizations go through the company. I am so happy that we have such a story of our fundraising, and so thank you. Thank you very much. This year, and I hope just to see that number go up every year. Can you tell me? It was $28,890.
It is a joyous occasion to be celebrating their 60 years of work here in our community tonight. I'm Julie Rowan. I teach at Wilson College. I've been involved with SCCAP. Thank you. I've been involved with SCCAP for about 10 years, I think. And I am so grateful for everything that they've done for Wilson and for me personally during this time. I work for a lot of nonprofit organizations. In fact, I think that's all the work that I've done in the nonprofit sector. And this organization is the best. It's one of the best I've ever worked for. Incredible people. Staff have helped students at Wilson better understand poverty by conducting poverty simulations on our campus. They've helped students understand hunger in our community through programs like the Glean Project and through their food pantry. And I'm especially grateful and honored to be part of the Circles initiative. I think I've been involved with them for several years, and there's a new sort of iteration now, and they do incredible work. This program is an amazing opportunity for lots of people in our community to get involved to help move people out of poverty. The amazing Megan Shreve, right, and all of her incredible staff do such an excellent job and amazing work. They are true leaders and change makers. SCCAP makes our community, and as you've said, and our world a better, more just, and more equitable place, and I could not be happier to be celebrating their 60th anniversary.
I actually, like Megan said, have been a client of a lot of SCCAP services in the past, and then I was part of the pilot program for support circles. And through that, gained so much confidence actually to be up here because we did a Toastmasters class. Otherwise, I couldn't talk in front of the mirror before that happened. So definitely SCCAP has, under Megan's leadership, under the board's leadership, under the staff, they just care so much about what they're doing. They go above and beyond every day, and genuinely care about everyone that they're serving. The services that provide, that donations allow them to provide, are so crucial. I know working right now with a family that just is really struggling, and just having the support there to maybe give a ride or whatever it might be, is making such a monumental difference in where they're trying to go. And I would just say that it gave my children even like a different perspective to life, and they saw different things, and new doors were opened up for them, and they just are doing excellent life. And I have to attribute a lot of that to the program and how it let me become more confident and realize the ability that I have, and SCCAP for providing those spaces. So they're doing really important work, and hopefully we can continue to do all the really important work that needs so much of right now.
One thing that gets talked about a lot in circles and with SCCAP is resilience. And I think hubby and I are probably the key to resilience. We grew up in poverty, and we grew up in abusive homes that weren't really supportive. And when we moved to Pennsylvania 20 years ago, we found ourselves kind of just relying on each other. And we had 2 young kids and some bad situations, and we ended up in the homeless shelter. We've utilized pretty much every program that SCCAP has had, between CCIS and WIC. I remember as a young mother in the shelter trying to figure out how to nurse my babies, trying to figure out how I was going to work and he was going to work, and with one car, and this was before cell phones were a big thing. And we've really, and in circles, you learn resilience, you learn to change your story, and you learn to build the future you want to have. And without programs like this, it took us 20-some years to finally be homeowners.
You're going to have me in the mic.
Yeah.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, all the SCCAP volunteers, to staff, all the programs. Congrats on 60 years, hopefully 60 and even more after that.
I am Ashley Corradino. I am representing WellSpan Health. Obviously, everyone's talking about how wonderful SCCAP is. We all know that. They are wonderful. They're a wonderful organization that gives us the opportunity to gain a deeper understanding of how health is affected by life. WellSpan has partnered with SCCAP to make a difference in our community, because we understand that the root causes of disease can be addressed when we all work together. In my role, I work specifically with the senior population who live in affordable housing throughout Franklin County. And I have partnered with the Gleaning Project to provide access to fresh produce on a weekly basis. Between 2022 and 2023, we were able to provide over 12,000 pounds of Gleaning Project produce to the residents, and so far this year, we have provided a little over 4,000 pounds. For those seniors who have transportation issues, limited mobility, or financial strain, this is the difference between maintaining a healthy lifestyle and healthy habits and resorting to unhealthy food options. The variety of produce that is offered has encouraged the residents to branch out and try new items or recipes that they would not have otherwise. Sorry, lost my space. I have personally seen the positive effects on the quality of life that the produce distributions provide. And one of my residents recently said that they are so appreciative to receive the Gleaning Project produce because it helps her stretch her SNAP budget, which is obviously crucial. I am excited to continue partnering with SCCAP to make Chambersburg a great place to work and live. And I would just like to give recognition to Taylor for doing such a great job with the Gleaning Project this year. She's fantastic.
Hello, my name is Janine Weaver, and when I first went into SCCAP. It was 2015, and I walked in, I drove, and I stood there, and I looked at my children, and I just wondered, how did I get here? I had a normal life. I was living with my boyfriend at the time, and I had a great job at Johns Hopkins. I was an accountant, had just finished college, and everything fell apart. It took one bad relationship and the loss of a job, and we ended up homeless. So after we stayed in the Adams County homeless shelter in Gettysburg for 7 months, we were able to get housing, and we moved on, and it was interesting to move on your own after having so many support systems around you. It's different. I remember sitting on my living room floor, and I cried because I thought, what if I mess up again? What if I do this again? And everyone in the community, from the donors and the volunteers and even the employees at SCCAP, they came and they helped, sometimes even physically to my house to help me put together furniture, because I had 4 children, and, they'll keep you busy. And it made such a difference in our lives. Now that my children are older, we have a high schooler, 2 high schoolers, a middle schooler, and a elementary student who was my baby then, and now she is 8. So, but after I started to recollect my life, I started working in accounting from home, and now I have a business in Gettysburg called Weaver Accounting Solutions, and I have 2 employees. So it has been 9 years, but it has definitely grown fast. And my children were able to see me bounce back from something that some people have a really hard, well, I had a really hard time bouncing back from. I think anybody does. Excuse me. The kids and I got to watch the community, and we used your kindness to inspire us to kind of do the same thing. We help within the community. We do a Pickup Gettysburg event, which picks up litter in honor of a young man that lost his life to mental health. And that is something to watch my children be involved because they saw other people involved with us. That's something that I don't know how to say thank you for, because you really gave them something that a lot of situations can't. So thank you to SCCAP. Thank you for having me.
Good evening, everyone. It's truly a pleasure to see all of you here celebrating SCCAP's 60 years of service. My name is Carrie Gray, and I'm deeply honored to be playing a small part in this incredible agency as a board member. Life is full of challenges and uncertainties, and I truly believe the key to getting through it all is hope. Hope isn't just a word, it's a force. It's what lifts us up in our darkest moments, what helps us see past our struggles, and what gives us the strength to face whatever comes our way. And that's why I joined SCCAP. Because SCCAP embodies hope. They don't just talk about it, they live it, as you're hearing. Our mission is to empower, engage, and cultivate community action to end poverty. Actually, it isn't just a mission, it's a promise. A promise to create opportunities, inspire change, and support one another to end poverty. We know that real change only happens when we work together. SCCAP's work goes beyond offering services. It's about transforming lives. And do you know the secret sauce to SCCAP's success? It's our staff. Why? Because they're the messengers of hope. You see it in their faces, in their work, and in their love for every single person who walks through their doors. Hope is in the programs they run, the support they offer, and the care they provide to our communities. They respond with compassion, dignity, respect, and an unwavering belief that every person matters. It's about saying to each person they encounter, you are seen, you are valued, and there is hope for a brighter tomorrow. And do you know how we can help these messengers of hope? We can help them by continuing to support them, each as we're able to in our own special way. You show up so often, and it's so very appreciated. Thank you to every member of our staff, every volunteer, every donor, and every supporter for being the light in the lives of so many. Your dedication to SCCAP is what makes hope tangible and what makes our community stronger. Together, we are building a future grounded in respect, uplifted by hope, and strengthened by our integrity and our unity. Let us continue to stand together, bringing hope to those who need it most, and showing the world that love, care, and community does make a difference. Tonight, we see all the fruits of the labor of love from those who came before us these past 60 years. Let us commit to continuing to sow the seeds of hope for many generations to come.
I'm ready. I'm excited before we turn it around. So, my name is Karen Rollins-Finch. I'm the Director of Corporate Social Responsibility for Highmark Whole Care, which is a managed care organization, health insurance company for those with Medicaid and Medicare. I found SCCAP, we might have been Gateway still, in the middle of COVID, and I needed to find an organization that was doing great work. Anybody remember, like in COVID, nobody left their house? You had to stay in your house, so I had to find organizations off of line, make calls. Nice Cheryl answered, Megan helped out and talked to me too, but I fell in love. I fell in love with the programs that they offered. I thought, what a great opportunity to help our potential demographic in Adams and Franklin counties. So I said, sign me up. I'll support you. Let me see how. I didn't share this with them yet, but you see we have a big check because we're going to give a big check. But I decided, well, I'll go back. Last year, Highmark, our parent company, has this Highmark Bright Blue Futures program, and they wanted more information about SCCAP. You're my company, you're my group, you're my CBO, but they wanted it because they wanted to tell the story about what they do in this community also. So they did an article, they put it out. All right. This year, I'm so excited, I decided I wanted to change things up a little bit in my department. So I wanted to do a premier partnership. I didn't tell you this, but so with the Premier Partnership, they are guaranteed a donation for the next 3 years. So this year, it's a donation of $50,000 unrestricted funds. Next year, it'll be $30,000, and the year following, $20,000, but over 3 years, that's $100,000. So I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you, not just to Megan and Cheryl, but to all of the SCCAP team, volunteers, workers, and those who benefit from their services. Thank you for taking advantage, because some people don't. Thank you for taking advantage of what a wonderful organization that you have in this community. So thank you.
Very good. Let's give them another round of applause. Thank you. Anybody else have any big goofy checks they want to give out? Rick and Lisa, it's good to see you. Let's give them another round of applause. Thank you very much for being here. I guess I listened to you guys in the mornings for how many years was it that you were? 108? Wow, that's a long time. They knew Marconi personally. Hey, at your tables, Cheryl wanted me to remind you of this. You see these little things here? All right, and this is in celebration of the faces of SCCAP. Yeah, you open it up and, well, on mine, it's really ugly. But probably with yours, it's a lot better looking, yeah. But this is a gift for you that Cheryl got. It's Empower, Engage, and End Poverty with SCCAP and the logo, and it has to do with the faces of SCCAP. It's a little mirror. You never know when you might be, I don't know, in the middle of the woods somewhere and you have to signal for help, right? But that was fun. I loved the parade of all of the faces of SCCAP. Now I have a special person to introduce. She's our president of the South Central Community Action Program's Board of Directors. Her name is Susan Noggle, and her bio is only 27 pages long, so this won't take long at all. Susan Noggle is a graduate of Shippensburg University, Bachelor's of Arts in Social Work. She has a master's degree in Public Administration. She spent 33 years with the Pennsylvania Department of Public Welfare, now it's called the Department of Human Services, beginning in 1970 at the Franklin County Assistant's Office here in Chambersburg, where she was a caseworker, a supervisor, and then a trainer. Her time there also included work at the state level on statewide special projects as the executive director of the Adams County Assistant's Office in Gettysburg, retiring in 2004. Beginning in 2008, she then served a dozen years as an elected member of the Gettysburg Borough Council, with the last two as the Borough Council President. She also served on the Gettysburg Municipal Authority Board for 7 years. She's been active with various community organizations, including the United Way of Adams County, Collaborating for Youth, Main Street Gettysburg, Healthy Adams County, and Healthy Adams Bicycle Pedestrian Incorporated. There's a mouthful. For the past 13 years, she's been coordinating From the Ground Up. That's a group of civic-minded volunteers who meet on Mondays from April into the fall to sweep trash in downtown Gettysburg sidewalks. She lives in Gettysburg with her husband, Patrick. She's been on the board of SCCAP since 2015, and this is her third year. She is a great president of the board, her third year of being president. Ladies and gentlemen, Susan Noggle. Susan?
On behalf of the Board of Directors of South Central Community Action Programs, I want to thank you for joining us, being with us tonight for this wonderful celebration. I don't know how I can top what we have just heard here, but I do want to share my appreciation for the SCCAP management, for their staff, for this wonderful evening that they've put together for us. We have some other board members here as well, so I would like to introduce them. If they would please stand when I name you. We've already met some of them, but if you could stand when I call your name and remain standing to be recognized. And I have to find that paper. Alice Aaliyah, Kara Russo, we've already met Kara, Leon Reed, Rochelle Plummer, Yasmina Adamovic, Lou Cowles, Virginia Baker, and Carrie Gray. What I'd like to do is I'd like them to remain standing, and I want you to join us as we recognize and applaud the efforts of SCCAP, its management, its staff, that we are so proud as a board to represent them. And so if you would join me in thanking them. Throughout the year, for 60 years. It's very inspirational. And we've heard some very inspirational stories here tonight. I don't know how I can top that at all. You've also been able to visit some of the tables that are over here.
You've also, in your program, you can see some of the spotlighting of the outcomes that SCCAP has in many of their programs. It's very, very impressive. They're a wonderful contribution to our community. And we've had this wonderful music and entertainment from Stowe Good. You're so great, and you'll hear more from them a little bit later. Megan mentioned that this Community Action Agency started in 1964 with legislation, and she was 1 year old at the time. I was a little older than that. In fact, as was introduced here in 1970, I started work. My first full-time job was with the Franklin County Board of Assistants. We were on the 4th floor of the Chambersburg Trust Company on the square, and we implemented many of the programs. The community action programs actually were a part of Lyndon Johnson's War on Poverty. He was going to eliminate poverty with his Great Society program, and that introduced a lot of the programs that we still have today that I administered through my career with the Department of Public Welfare. And they are things like the expansion of food stamps, Medicaid, Medicare, we heard about that earlier, Head Start, we all love Head Start, Job Corps, there was civil rights legislation. It was very comprehensive. And some of those programs are still with us today. They did not eliminate poverty. They did provide a safety net for individuals who were struggling in the community. And so it was really, I think, the genius of some of those Great Society programs was actually the legacy of the community action agencies that came out of that legislation that have been with us for 60 years. Community Development Block Grant, if you're in the business of administering state programs, we call that CDBG. And that sent a pot of money through the state so that communities could develop these community programs, community action programs, all over the country. Some of these organizations are regional, some of them are very local, they're large agencies, some of them are very small. But they all were designed to provide guidance and help to individuals who were in poverty so that they could make the best of these programs that were coming out of the federal and state government. And that's what SCCAP has been doing for 60 years. And as Megan has illustrated in her presentation, it's just, they have been so agile, so committed, so efficient in running these programs. They've made adjustments when adjustments needed to be made. They've coordinated resources within the community. They've made connection between community organizations, and they depend on the community for their support. In addition to all the grants and the money that comes down, it doesn't meet the need entirely. So these are the programs that SCCAP has been administering. If you had a chance to go to any of the tables, you gathered a better understanding of what those programs mean. And I think the faces of SCCAP have illustrated what that means on an individual basis. So we really thank them for that. And that was the enduring legacy, one of the enduring legacies of that Great Society and War on Poverty of many, many years ago. And if you think about how society has changed, how the economy has changed since the 1960s, when the concern in the 60s was that we were leaving too many people, too many families behind, childhood poverty rates were increasing. And think about now, we are still leaving families behind. There is still child poverty. And these organizations, SCCAP and all the others around the country, are helping those families become self-sustaining, buy homes, go to a better job and have a better future for their children.
Cheryl Brown also called me about speaking, and she said to me, well, I've got a place for you on the program. I want you to do the ask. And I think my response to her was something like, oh. That's not something I've ever been very good at. And as it turns out, I don't really need to say much. I think it has all been said through the faces, through SCCAP, through the people have stood up and talked about what this agency means to them in this community. It depends on the generosity and involvement of local government, local citizens, local organizations, and businesses. And that's what makes it work. So we're going to go right to the pledge cards. On your table is an envelope. There's a big envelope. If you haven't opened that, go ahead and do that. And in there are separate envelopes if you want to get those out and pass those around to everyone at your table. This is the pledge, gift, comment, card, and envelope. And on that, you will see, first of all, we want to have your comments about this evening. You know, what did you like about this? Could it be improved? We want to improve, you know, our celebrations for the future. But if you go down the card a little bit more, we're talking about how you can help SCCAP. You can help SCCAP with monetary donation to SCCAP, whatever you can give. You can also give of your time, because most of these programs, all that are listed here, depend on volunteers to really administer them. SCCAP could not do this without volunteers who go into the agencies and actually work in the food pantry, help out with the shelter, volunteer to do circles. It's vital to the way that they operate in the community. So if you can do that, it can be an hour a week, it can be a whole week during the month, you know, whatever time you can give is really, really appreciated. And if you're interested in that, then SCCAP will provide you with more information about the opportunities that are available to do that. And so as far as a donation, the programs that are listed here, there are different blocks there. The programs that are listed here are the ones that are unfunded. And I think that's been mentioned, that some of our programs don't have a direct source of funding. SCCAP has developed those programs because there was a need in the community. They have worked with those programs, and they know that they work and that they contribute in positive ways to people who are struggling. So, and some of these programs do get funded, but it's insufficient to meet the need. So if there's any one of those programs, Support Circles, Food Pantry, Shelter, or the Gleaning Project, that you feel particularly interested in, you can donate directly to any or all of those. You can have SCCAP just directly to SCCAP, and the money will go as needed to a Franklin County program. And then SCCAP has their endowment, and I think that was also mentioned. Cheryl Brown has been able to bring that up to $1 million, and that money will grow in that endowment, and that's a stable source of income well into the future for SCCAP to use as they need to use it. So those are the ways that you can give SCCAP. So I hope you'll be generous with that, because if we can extend a hand to others, we all benefit from that. And SCCAP has been doing that for 60 years. And I think tonight was a testament to how well they do that and how much that means to the community. So while you're looking at that card and thinking about that, you can make a donation tonight. If you're not prepared to do that, you can make a pledge.
you can mail back the envelope as well. And we appreciate any donation you're able to give, because it'll really be put, we know it'll be put to good use. So while you're doing that and thinking about that, I'm going to turn this program back over to Stogood, and I want you to pay particular attention to the third verse of the next song that they are going to sing. I want to thank you all for coming tonight. I want you to enjoy the rest of the evening, and please have a safe trip home. Thank you.